Namah Parvati Pataye Govindanam Sankirtanam.
Namaste everyone. So very happy to see you all here once again for Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll start with a prayer or invocation. Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chadurbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Sarva Lokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidiye Sarva Vidyanam Dakshinamurtiye Namaha. Tennadudiya Periyava Potri, Tennattavarkum Neriva Potri, Sarvagya Sarvagyabi Periyava Charanam, Maya Peraparakum Maha Periyava Adi Potri. Om Janmadhyasya Yato Anvayaditaradasharteshu Abhigyah Swaratan Tene Brahma Hridayaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayaham Tejo Vari Mridam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Sargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sadha Narasthaguhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. So in the last time we have seen Daksha Yagnam in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a story of Krishna mainly. Mainly it focuses on Krishna, but it says, even Shivan, there is no Bedam between, there is no difference between Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma. See, that we have seen in Daksha Yagnam. That is Daksha in his story. So here, even the great sage Maitreya here, he says if one hears and again narrates with faith and devotion the story of this Daksha Yagnam, then certainly he is, he's cleared, he is cleared of all contaminations of material existence. This is what he says. So we have seen that Brahma is creating the universe now. Now Brahma has started creating the universe. So the first he formed, the four great Kumara stages. That is the Sanat Kumaras, headed by, Sanadar, Sanandanar, Sanadanar, and Sanat Kumara. See, and as well as Narada, Ribu, Hymsa, Aruni, and Yati. See, are all, all sons of Brahma. They did not, live at home, but became Urdhvareta. Urdhvareta means Naishtika Brahmachari, means unadulterated celibates. So Brahma got all these sons, and irreligion, irreligion was also Brahma's son. Even bad and good thing, both came from Brahma at the time of creating the universe. So irreligion, irreligion was also Brahma's son. What his wife's name is? His wife's name is Falsity. Falsity is irreligion's wife. So it is said that both good and bad things, came from Brahma. Dharmam and Adharmam. Dharmam and Adharmam both came from Brahma. So, I'll tell you this interesting thing. Whatever emotions we have here, all these things, it has come from Brahma only. See, from the irreligion, Dambam and cheating were born. And from Dambam and Maya were born. Greed and Nikriti. Nikriti means cunningness, cunning nature. From this combination, came children named Krodha. Krodha, anger. Hymsa, envy. And from their combinations were born Kali and his sister Durukti. Durukti means harsh speech. You have to always speak in a loving manner. You should not speak harshly. Should not be rude. So from the combination, were born children like Mrityu, death, and Beeti. Beeti means fear. that fear. You see, all these irreligion will go only if you pray to God. See, these irreligions are born from Brahma, and it is all there in nature. We are all having that emotions, those emotions. And from the combinations of this mrityu, that is death and bhiti, from these combinations of the children born are called yatana, it means some excessive pain. And niraya means hell. So the creation takes place on the basis of goodness, but devastations, devastations takes place because of irreligion. So in Bhagavatam, it is said, in Bhagavatam it is said, if one hears this description, this about this, all these religion things, some irreligion things 3 times, there is a palan, everywhere there is a palan, they attains purity and washes the sinful contamination from his soul. This is what is said in Bhagavatam. That is why all this irreligion matters, I have to say this. So, but now the present life, is repeated. So the present life is always repeated, birth and death. And if we seek the path of liberation, we may be saved from repeated sufferings. So now Maitreya said, I shall now describe the descendants, descendants of Svayambhuva Manu, who was born, was born as a part of the planetary expansions of the Lord. So he has already told about Manu's daughters like Ahuti, Prasuti, and Devahuti. We have seen all those daughters, they are progeny and all. So Manu has now 2 sons by his wife Satarupa, and the son's name was Uttanapada and Priyavrata. So Maitreya said, I shall now describe you the descendants of Svayambhuva Manu. So this is considered as a Punya. Swayambhuva Manu's name is it's a Punya Slokan's name, Punya Slokan's story. Now we are going to tell the Punya Slokan's story. See, whatever is said by Maitreya to Vitura is retold by Sugar to Parikshit. This is the Kramam. So Sugar is a jnani, he is a jnani by himself, and he knows about Parikshit's mind. He can read the Parikshit's mind. So now Parikshit is hearing the story, all the Bhagavatam from Sugar. But Sugar knows what is going on in Parikshit's mind. So he understood that Parikshit now, he was thinking that, all these stories about God and, the stories about Bhagavan and all, you have to think, you have to meditate only in the old age. The Parikshit is young and he is a king. And he, it's possible only, for old people to hear all these stories. He was thinking like that. Parikshit was thinking like that. So as Parikshit is young and he also a king, he was questioning himself in his mind, how to meditate, how to meditate on God at his young age. Is it possible to do that? Now Sugar got that. Sugar understand his mind and began to tell about Dhruvan's story. Okay, Dhruvan was only 5 years old. Dhruvan was only 5 years old when he had the darshan of God, and that much amount of concentration or meditation he had at that early stage. Now Sugar started to continue about Dhruva Charitram. He started to tell about Dhruva Charitram. See, actually the Kramam is Sakshat Narayana. Narayana's son is Brahma, or Narayana appears as Brahma. Brahma's son is Manu. That is Amsham of Brahma is Manu. And Manu's son is Uttanapada. So Dhruva Charitram is in Vishnu Puranam, Linga Puranam, Bhagavatam, Skandam. So we can see this Dhruva Charitram and lot of Puranas. We have this Dhruva Charitram. This is a big Charitram. I don't know how I can complete this in this session. I don't know, but I'll try to do that. But Sugar has, beautifully described in a crisp manner. As he has to say the entire Bhagavatam in 7 days, he has done it in a very crisp manner. Now, I'll start with the Dhruva Charitram. whatever he has said, like Uttanapada has two queens, two wives named Suneeti and Suruchi. Suneeti, the first wife, is very kind-hearted, good woman. Is a very pious, kind lady. Is a very good woman. But the king was so attracted to Suruchi only, the second wife, his second wife only. So Uttanapada used to, love Suruchi so much more than this Suneeti, as he hates even to tell the name of Suneeti. So in Puranam means in other Puranams, like other than this Bhagavatam, it is said that it is all because of this Suruchi, because Suruchi was so jealous of Dhruva, as he was the elder son. He was the elder son and he is the son of Suneeti. So he was so jealous that he had to, he had the right to hire the throne after Uttanapada. So Suruchi had a son. She had a son named Uttaman, and Dhruva is elder to him. So in Puranam, this other than this Bhagavatam, it is said that Suruchi asked King Uttanapada to banish Suneeti and said she will not stay in the palace if Suneeti lives there. But the king said, I can't discard a woman. I can't discard a woman whom I have married. So let her be like, servant maid, or here, or you be the queen. You be the queen. Then also she said that, okay, if that is the case, you should not speak to her. You should not speak to her. The king said, okay. But what happened? Both became pregnant. Suruchi was not happy about her being pregnant. And she asked him how this happened. Suneeti was also pregnant. So the king said, I have already told you that I should not discard her as she is my wife. So she said, what if she gets a boy? If she gets a boy and get the throne? The king said, okay, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. It might be a girl also. So she agreed, and he said, once the boy is born, I will banish both the mother and the baby, okay, to the forest. He wants peace at least for 10 months. The king wants peace at least for 10 months. He should do. I don't want to, I don't want any quarrel, or I don't want anything. But what happened? Both had baby boys, like boy babies. She was not happy. Suruchi was not happy. So she was so adamant, and under her influence and taking advantage of the love of the king, had towards her beauty, she ordered, Suneeti and her boy, means and her baby son Dhruva, to stay away from king, and banished them from the palace. So the king, the king even said after 12 days, the king even said that after 12 days, that is after this Punya Vachanam, I can, send them to the forest. They have their Punya Vachanam only after 12 days. They are Kshatriya. So, but she was so adamant, the Suruchi was so adamant that Suneeti and Dhruva were driven away to the forest. At this so young age, Suneeti went out with the baby to the forest. Now, Suneeti and Dhruvan, stayed outside the kingdom in a small hut near the forest. Suneeti always, she always told stories about Bhagavan, Sakshat Narayana, none other than Lord Vishnu. Suneeti took Charanagati, whatever, she don't know what to do, because she was banished by her own husband and she don't know what to do. So she took Charanagati to the Bhagavan only. So to Bhagavan, Dhruvan became now 5 years old. He's a Kshatriya Shishu, means Kshatriya boy. So the Kshatriya boy, as a Kshatriya boy, he won't sit inside the home. Always he will not be, sitting inside the home. So what happened is he started roaming around villages nearby the forest and got many friends. when all the friends were talking about their, their dad and their father, the little boy Dhruva, he came full of tears and asked his mom, where is my dad? And who is my dad? See, they are all talking about their dad. They are all talking about their father. Every day they used to tell that father got me this thing, that thing. But where is my dad? And who is my dad? I want to know about my dad. See, all the other children are teasing me for not talking about my dad. Now, see what happened to Suneeti now. See, Suneeti, she was full of tears, rolling and, rolling on her cheek and bitterly, so bad condition. She was in a so bad condition. She couldn't explain to a small boy. He was only a small boy. But he said, oh, my dear, your father is not an ordinary person. He is the ruler of the kingdom. He is the ruler. He is the king. He is not an ordinary person. So he is a ruler. So happily, Dhruvan asked, oh, that means that Uttanapada is my dad. He knows all the general knowledge. Who is ruling the kingdom now? He knows about it. So it means that Uttanapada is my dad. He knows who is the ruler, and he went outside and said to all the children, like, King Uttanapada is my dad. You all friends, it's not an ordinary person, is not my dad. That's why my dad is not at home here. He's the king. So he's the Uttanapada is my dad. So if you want anything also, if you want anything, I can get you. He doesn't know. He's a small boy. So even he asked his mother, if the king is my dad. See, you say that king is my dad. But then why are we living in a small hut, small mud house? We were supposed to live in a very big palace. Here, Suneeti said, maybe due to my sin, I have done so much of papam. Maybe due to my sin, we are like this. Maybe, in my previous birth, I would have, I would have separated many couples. So that is why it is like, we have to stay here in the small mud, and he discarded me. He, banished me. Even if you see the, about Mahangal or Jnanihal or Sannyasis, they also do Ashirvadams for the couple to live united. That's the thing. Always there is a trust between husband and wife, and we have to live together only. We should not think always, to separate ourselves. That's not our way. So so here Suneeti, she says that there is no remedy or prayachittam, for sins like, blocking this, blocking or putting a barrier for annadana. If you do some annadhanam, if there is a barrier, if somebody puts a barrier, or if somebody puts a block for annadhanam, then that's a very great sin. And for, blocking or, blocking on Bhagavata Kathāśravaṇam. If somebody is hearing Bhagavatam and somebody says, no, don't waste time hearing all those things, then that's a very great papam. And separating a couple, separating a couple is a mahapapa. It said it's a mahapapa. So she started lamenting. She started crying. So since Dhruva is a Kshatriya boy, he said, no, don't worry, mom, don't worry. I will go and meet my father and meet my dad there, and he will, send you a palanquin to come there. So don't worry. So said, he never stopped. He took everything in his mind and he was ready to go. He was ready to. His mother Suneeti, she told, don't go. There is a stepmother there. There is a stepmother there. But the boy said, father is there. Dad is there to look after me. And, so said he started. So in Puranam, it said that the king Uttanapada was sitting with his wife Suruchi. There is a second wife Suruchi on the 7th floor. On the 7th floor, the soldiers, they were all lot of soldiers. There is all barricades there. And, they know that Dhruva is the son of Uttanapada. Dhruva is the son of the, from his first wife, Uttanapada, Suneeti. So one of the older, so the soldiers blocked the way of Dhruva, but one of the elder soldier, he told her, this is the king's son, we don't want to get into any trouble. What if he becomes a king later on? So don't block him, let him go. Let him go to the 7th floor. Okay, whatever happens, it is between father and son. We don't have to intervene in that. So Dhruva went and saw that Uttanapada was, patting the son of Suruchi, Uttama. And he was placing Uttama on his lap. He was trying to place Uttama on his lap, and Dhruva went there, and he knows that he is his father. So he was trying to, get onto his lap. But the king did not, very much welcome him. The king was, of course, he was, equally affectionate towards both his sons, Uttama and Dhruva. But so he had a natural inclination to take Dhruva as well as Uttama on his lap. But because of his, favoritism towards, his queen, that is Suruchi, he could not welcome Dhruva despite his feelings. So, the small boy Dhruva understood that his father likes him, but he is afraid of his wife Suruchi. So he purposefully took his hand, and was trying to get onto his lap of his father. So seeing this, Suruchi was not happy. Suruchi was there sitting, his stepmother. She became very envious of this child, and very, and with great pride, began to speak, so as to be heard by king himself. So she takes undue advantage. She said to Dhruvan, my dear child, you don't deserve to sit on this throne or on the lap of the king. Okay? Dhruva asked, why? Why shouldn't? It's my father. She said, surely you are also the son of the king. But because you did not take your birth, in my womb, so you are not qualified. You are not qualified to sit on your father's lap. She indirectly informed, Dhruvan, that although he happened to be born of the king, he was nevertheless considered to be an illegitimate son because of his birth in the womb of the other queen. Somebody said that at least she agreed that that he is the son of king. The small child, Dhruva is a small child. He's only 5 years old. Dhruva was naturally affectionate towards his father. And he did not know that there was a distinction between these two mothers. He doesn't know that. So the distinction was pointed out by the queen, Suruchi, who informed him that since he was a child, he did not understand the distinction between these two queens. That is, only the king liked her very much and not Suneeti. So Dhruva, innocently asked, what should I do to take birth on your womb? If I want to take birth on your womb, what should I do? See, she said, you have to do austerities. You have to do tapas. If you desire to, rise to the throne of the king or sit on his lap, first of all, you have to do tapas. If he gets satisfied, that is the Supreme Lord, you have to satisfy. You have to satisfy Mahavishnu or Supreme Lord Narayana. And if he gets satisfied, when you are favored by him, because of such worship, you should ask him to give a boon, to take birth in my womb. Only then it's possible for you to get into his lap. So in Puranam it is said, Dhruva, hoped that his father would stop Suruchi, scolding him. But King Uttanapada, what he did, he ignored him. Suruchi, could not bear Dhruva's presence there. She couldn't bear the Dhruva's presence there, and she pushed him. She pushed him, with all her might. She pushed him, and Dhruva was falling from the 7th floor. So Little Dhruva, see, this is what is happening there. And Uttanapada was sitting silently, seeing all these things. Little Dhruva, reached his mother. His lips were trembling, like that. He was trembling in anger. He was not crying at that moment. He knows where to cry. So he came. His lips were trembling with anger and he was crying very grievously, when he reached his mother. Queen, this Suneeti, immediately lifted her son. She was seeing, she lifted her son, onto her lap. While the this palace residents and all the Dhruva's friends, they all came, along with Dhruva. So who had heard all the harsh words of Suruchi relating everything in detail. So Suneeti also becomes very greatly aggrieved. She became so sad. Like this incident was so much unbearable, to Suneeti. Suneeti's, patience. It's very unbearable to Suneeti's patience. She began to burn. She began to burn as if this forest fire, and in her grief, she became just like a burnt leaf. You can imagine a burnt leaf. And so lamented, as she remembered the words of her co-wife. Her bright lotus-like, face, beautiful face, became filled with tears. And she couldn't find an end, for this. She couldn't find an end for this problem. She cannot console her son, Dhruva. What she will say? She can't. She was breathing, so heavily, and she did not know the, factual remedy for this painful situation. So Dhruvan asked, why are we always crying? Why are we always crying? She said, anyone, and even at this moment also, Suneeti says, anyone who inflicts pains upon others suffers himself from that pain. So please, my child, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. This we have to cultivate that habit. She told in the previous birth, maybe I was a second wife. Maybe I was a second wife and I would have done most heinous things to the first wife. That is why I am suffering. That is why in this birth, I am suffering. Dhruva asked, why you have not asked me to pray to Narayana? While she told me to do so. My stepmom told me to do so. Suneeti, cheerfully said, oh dear, I am Papi. I am a Papi. See, she's, what can I say? That, she's so sad. She's so sad at that time. So I am a Papi. If I say something to you, maybe it might not have happened. It might not have happened. It's good that, Suruchi told you to do tapas. So you do it. You do according to whatever Suruchi said, you do it. So one can see how painful, how sorrowful or stressful, it will be for Suneeti to tell Dhruva all these things. Because Dhruva is only 5 years old, but he is only 5 years old. So Suneeti continued. She said, my dear boy, whatever has been spoken by, Suruchi is so because the king, your father, does not consider me as his wife or even as a maid servant, even as his maid servant. So he feels even ashamed to accept me. But you're only 5 years old, boy. There is no chance of doing any sin for you. So it is a fact that you have taken birth in the womb of an unfortunate woman. See, it's so painful to say all these things. As a woman, as a mother, to say all these things to her own child, it's so painful. It's so stressful to say. See, she's saying that you have to, it's so unfortunate. She's saying that you have taken birth in the womb of an unfortunate woman, and by being fed from her breast, You have grown up. See, that is the sin you have done. So she told him, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi, your stepmother, although very harsh to hear, is factual. So therefore, if you desire at all to sit on your father's lap, immediately try to execute the instructions of your stepmother. Without any further delay, you must engage yourself in worshipping the Lord. I can't say that, a mother, if she is, the situation is that the mother is trying to say a son, her own son, to take birth in the stepmother's, womb. This is so painful situation. The situation, you can see how painful it is. She told, we got the practice of worshipping the Lord at our home. Even your grandfather Manu got so much of wealth and prosperity by worshipping the Lord. So see, she told that the Lord is a Bhakta Vatsalan. Bhakta Vatsalan. So you also should also take shelter to the Lord, shelter to the Supreme Personality. He is very kind to the devotees. Persons, even mumukshikal persons who are seeking liberations, from the cycle of birth and death, always takes shelter to the, of the lotus feet of the Lord. So she said, you came to me crying. Having been insulted by your stepmother, but I am unable to do anything. I am unable to do any good for you. So, but Lord Narayana is so kind. Lord Vishnu there is so kind. Is so kind to his devotees, and he will do good for you. So go to him. Then, then what happened? Persons, millions of mothers like me would be supposed to be his affectionate, and millions of mothers are suffering like this. Nowadays, we can see that. So we are hearing said, I don't want to get distracted. So when everyone, I don't want to say anything, this thing. So when everyone fails to mitigate one's misery, only the Krishna, only the Lord Supreme Personality, or the Narayana, or Lord Vishnu is able to help the devotee. So Suneeti also stressed that the process of approaching the Lord is not so easy, but it is sought after by great sages who are spiritually advanced, and you're only 5 years old boy. But by doing bhakti, by concentrating on Bhagavan, or doing bhakti, anyone, any kind of age, of any age, can attain the Lord so easily. So she said, only the Supreme Lord can mitigate your distress condition. So many demigods, even Mahalakshmi, when Mahalakshmi herself is always ready to render service to the Lord, keeping lotus flowers in her hand, so Suneeti was actually a foreseeing woman, and therefore she advised her son to worship the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality, and no one else. She doesn't advise him to do puja to some demigods or so. So he advised her son to do tapas on Supreme Lord. So both mother and son now decided that to take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. She told to do tapas in the forest, where there won't be any disturbance from any other human beings, like where the great sages have got darshan of the Lord. That is Nirjanam Mana forest. So Dhruva said, okay, Mom, don't worry. I'm going to go to the forest. But her mother asked, why are you going to the forest? I stay back, saying that she will do all the facilities for puja. I'll make you all the facilities. I'll give you all the things for puja, and you can do puja here itself. But Dhruva, said, you already told me to go and do tapas in the forest, where there is a nirjanam. If you are if you are with me, then it becomes sajanam. Like, you are with me now. So I won't be alone doing tapas. So I will go. Don't worry. She told them. But again, she doesn't want to, she doesn't want Dhruva to go to the forest and do tapas. So she told that will be lion, tigers, in the forest. But Dhruvan answered, you told that the Lord is there to protect me. So don't worry. Dhruva, took everything seriously. He took everything seriously and left his home. In Puranam, it is said, Dhruvan, only 5 years old child, went inside the forest, shouting, where is the Lord told by my mother. It is in Tamil, it is said that Amma sonna Deivam enge. He doesn't know. He is only a small boy. Amma here, Amma means Suneeti. Here said to Dhruva before going to the forest, see, I'll be waiting here. I'll be standing here without taking any food, without taking any even a drop of water. I'll be waiting for you, Dhruva. You have to come. After doing tapas, after seeing the Lord, you have to come to me because I'll be waiting here. That is what mom's stage is, mom's sthiti is. So I'll be standing here. So I'll be waiting for you. She's full of tears. She doesn't know, the end of her sorrows. She couldn't see the end of her sorrows. So Dhruva went inside the forest, shouting after the Lord, because it was heard that he's only a small 5 years old boy. He doesn't know whether the Lord, the God, he doesn't know about the God. He doesn't know how the God will be, whether the God is a female or a God is a male. So he was shouting, like Amma said something about God. Who is that God? I want to see that God. He was shouting. And that shouting, it was heard by an appropriate person who came down from Vaikuntam to help. And that is Sage Narada. This is the turning point. I always like that. When one shouts to Lord, we as a, we are all ordinary human beings. We don't know. We work with our mind to find out solutions to so many things. We think we are all very intelligent. We could find out so many solutions, but we couldn't. At one point of time, the saturation point, at one point of time, we have to surrender to the Lord. And that surrender, that type of surrender, that should be a full, like, the concentration that's without the Lord, it is not going to solve. The problem is not going to solve. And we have to focus, we have to concentrate, we have to our attention should be fully, on Lord. By that time, at that point, we can get the solution from a great soul. We ourselves have seen, so many of us would have seen, like, this answer would come from somebody, some great soul, we will get the answer. But this is Dhruvan, he's concentrating. He has to see the Lord now, isn't it? So he was shouting, and that shouting was heard by Narada. There also in Bhagavatam also, Parikshit was, at one point of time, Parikshit, so many sages are telling so many solutions for him. But at that point, sugar came, isn't it? Sugar is a very great jnani. He came to resolve the problem. This is how our life should be. Always we have to surrender to the Lord to get the solution. Our mind, we should not always think like, we are superior and we know everything. That's not the case. So here, Sage Narada, he overheard the news, and understanding all the activities of Dhruvan, he was struck with the wonder. He approached Dhruvan and, touching his head, he touched his head, touching his head with his, virtuous hand. He spoke, how wonderful, how wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas, they can't even tolerate even a slight infringement, of their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. He couldn't take that word. He couldn't take. Dhruva couldn't. Narada, told, you are only a little boy, whose attachment, attraction is to sports and all other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words, insulting your honor? This is normal everywhere, in every household. It's all so normal. So you better go home. He's testing how this Dhruva's perseverance is there. He's testing his perseverance. Now Dhruva asked, he sees Narada and he asked, oh grandpa, how do you know our story? How do you know? Are you a jnani? Are you a yogi? Sage Narada said, I am Brahma's son. I am Narada. So Dhruvan said, oh, so you are the great Sage Narada. My mom has told all about you. If there is any honest path, to seek the Lord, you just tell me that plan. Okay. Otherwise, I know what to do. Otherwise, I know what to do. You don't have to tell me to go home, the way back home. So you don't have to tell me that. So Narada thought, oh, see, this boy's perseverance is so strong that the God, that the Bhagavan, that the Narayana has to run to him. He has to come. He'll be the child, he has to do anugraham to this child compulsory. So he said, just I wanted to test you, son, in your perseverance. See, whatever your mom said is the way. The way the Veda also says. So that is the thing. That is the way to attain God. So the instructions given by your mom, Suneeti, to follow the path of devotional service to the Lord is just suitable for you. So what happened is, whether it is a dharmam, kamam, moksham, or artham, means whether it is a dharma, means it's a principle of religiosity, or economic development, or what can I say, sense gratification or liberation, one should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord to yield to the fulfillment of all these things. So my dear boy, I wish all good fortune to you. So you should go to the bank of river Yamuna, where there is a virtuous forest called Madhuvana. Just by going there, one draws near to the Lord, who always lives there in Madhuvana. So go there, take bath, take the snanam. Snanam means take bath, do all your daily rituals, make a murti of Lord, make a image of Lord, and do puja. See, at this point, after hearing all these things, Dhruvan cried bitterly. He asked, I am only a 5 years old boy. And I am also banished by my father, that too betrayed by my dad. How do you expect me to know about the snanam, sandhi, and meditation, and puja, and everything? I don't know even the Lord is a purusham or, stri, means a female or a male. Then the sage Narada, he smiled and he did upatesam of Dvadasakshara Mahamantra, to Dhruva's ears. But Dhruva said, I don't know the Rupam of Swami. I don't know how the Swami looks like. I don't know the Rupam of Swami. So now Narada is trying to describe the Rupam of Bhagavan, the whole structure, the Rupam of Bhagavan, so that the child, Dhruva could understand. I think I can't continue this. I think it's so the time is already there. Should I continue or should I stop here? It will take another 15-20 minutes. So I will stop here and I will continue this in the next session, because already it is, I think it's 9:15. It's going to be 9:15. So I will stop here and we will describe the Rupam of Bhagavan and how Dhruva, attained Moksham, and how, Bhagavan blessed Dhruva. We will see that in the next session, because, I want to describe it in such a way that, you have to get into that. That bhakti bhavam of the devotees, the bhavam of the devotees is more important for Lord. Whatever may be, you may be knowing puja rituals, you may be doing rituals or puja in a very grand manner, or in a perfect manner, but Bhagavan, he loves only a loving person. The person or the devotee who loves Bhagavan. So that bhavam is very important. Here, Dhruvan is a yogi. He is a mystic yogi, and he has done at even at 5 years of age, he has done tapas. He has concentrated. So why can't we? We are all old and we can do. So daily prayers is always necessary. Daily we have to chant at least Ramanamam or Krishna Namam daily, during the morning, and at least before going to sleep, we have to take that. We have to chant the Namam. The Namam is so important in our life. It gives us all, all those things. I told you all about the irreligion. Kamam, Krodham, whatever it is, Bhayam, Bhiti, Mrityu, you can overcome all those things, chanting Bhagavan's Namam. That we have to take. That we have to chant daily. We have to make a habit, of chanting all the, Bhagavan's Namam. So I will conclude here, and we'll take it in, in the next session. We will see how Dhruvan, saw Bhagavan and how Bhagavan felt. When Dhruvan, Dhruva's tapas, how Bhagavan felt. We will see in the next session. I'll conclude here with Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all. Thank you. We'll see you in the next session of Bhagavatam. Thank you.
Namaskaram, Ram Ram. Thank you.
Ram Ram. Thank you.
Ram Ram. Ram Ram.
Thank you.
Ram Ram.
Ram.
Ram Ram, thank you.